I have always liked movies and books because they can be used as an escape. New worlds where things that seem impossible are actually doable. There's one genre that always leaves me questioning reality, which is horror. Because we should be running away from things that induce fear, right? Well, something I read about it the other day is how people watch scary movies because of three main reasons, which is tension, relevance, and unrealism. So let me tell you about the horror movie that I watched. The story is about a girl that was raised in a very religious town close to Tennessee. When she got to college, she met a friend, a best friend, I might say, that they ended up falling in love with each other and began a relationship. After 2 years, she realizes that her partner has been cheated on her, and devastated, she goes back to her town to see her parents and tell them about her fair relationship. Surprisingly, her parents, instead of comforting her, drove her to the shore she grew up in and told her how there was this biblical practice where a minister prays over her to release and free herself from demonic forces that are hurting her. She spent 36 hours without eating because apparently fasting was better for the effectiveness of this process. Well, very weak, she's taken to this very small white room where the pastor and two assistants grab her and start praying loudly. She begins to feel like the air getting to her lungs isn't enough and asks them to stop. That's when the pastor screams, "You have chosen to take this path to hell. Don't ever forget that." At the moment, she realizes that this was never intended to cure a broken heart, but instead to punish her because her partner was a girl. Before she was able to process the whole nightmare, the assistant did something called corrective rape, which is basically sexual assault disguised as a disciplining project designed to cure and correct homosexualism. For the girl, the next 10 years were a steady flow of heavy drinking, drugs, anxiety, depression, and feeling directionless. To think humans can be so despicable to another human is such a disturbing movie. But the most disturbing part of this is that it isn't actually a movie, it's a real story. Deb Connie went through this, among the other thousands of children that are being subjected to conversion therapy right now. This is dehumanizing practice, it isn't therapy, it is torture, and it refers to any attempt of changes a person's sexual orientation or gender identity, which often involves techniques such as electroshock or prayer. As seen here in the graphic, fewer than half of the US states have active bans in place against this practice. Approximately 700,000 adults, queer adults, have undergone conversion therapy at some point in their lives, including 350,000 who have received treatment as teenagers. Now, imagine all these people's life being scarred forever in just one thought haunting their minds every day, which is who you are is wrong, you aren't enough, eternal torture works for you, and you deserve everything that happened. But again, we don't need imagination for this because it's so real that 57% of transgender and non-binary youth who have undergone conversion therapy report a suicide attempt in the last year. One of the most sad and ironic facts about this is how research has disproved the efficacy of this. Professional health associations have publicly denounced conversion therapy and also have indicated that they are affirmatively harmful. So, why aren't we more vocal about this clear human rights violation? This stopped being a discussion about beliefs a long time ago, and it shouldn't be considered an option. Yes, now the LGBTQ plus community has more visibility than before, and still anti-gay hate crimes fell slightly in 2020, but anti-trans crimes rose. Are we actually getting better at creating a safe space for everyone, or are we just getting better at hiding the hate? Do me a favor, bite your tongue as hard as you can. And now think about the person you love the most. Done? Okay, this was just a quick exercise to remind us that we are alive. We feel pain, we love, we hope, and fear because we're human. All of these numbers and graphics that I use are based on other humans just like you. And that also feel pain and fear, and they just want to be able to hope and love. This issue has to be managed from a human rights perspective, focusing on delegitimizing conversion therapy practices, holding practitioners accountable for the damage they cause, and supporting survivors. According to the Outright Action International, just 5 countries totally banned conversion therapy. Here in the United States, it is partially banned. 20 states and Washington, D.C. have laws banning the practice of conversion therapy on youth by licensed health professionals. But these laws do not cover religious providers, which are the biggest promoters of this, for which eliminating discrimination in practice, as well as policy and law, will be a huge factor in reducing the numbers of conversion practitioners' laws and clients. There's a lot of websites where you can donate to organizations actively working to fully ban conversion therapy, and that also for help for the physical, emotional, and psychological recovery of people that have gone through it. Do your research, vote consciously, use your voice. Right now, we're just getting the tension and the relevance of this, but not the unrealistic part. This is very real. This is the movie plot we were given. So let's change it. Let's ban conversion therapy.